Vanita, first page.
Page number 1 of the
Page number 1 of introduction.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखावितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते देवी गोविंद स्वामिनिति नामिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे So Hare Krishna everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Everyone. Sorry, I wanted to see all of you. I'm not getting that on what I do. What do I?
Hare Krishna, Vanita. Thank you for
Hare Krishna, Preeti. Sorry?
Thank you for shifting it to Friday.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. But please be regular because Anjali is going to be very inconvenienced to shift it on a Friday.
I should not have done that then. To make it convenient for me, you should not have made it inconvenient to someone else.
She is coming as of now. So I think she's happy as long as everybody is coming regularly. Okay. We have until verse 30. So I'm going to ask a little quiz. It will be a revision for the ones who have joined newly and a revision also. Why does it tell me your internet connection is unstable? मैंने hotspot पे लगाया है. Anyways. So do let me know by chat or a phone call in case the audio is not good. Okay, first question. Why did Arjun ask Krishna his chariot to be taken to the midst of the two armies? So we can raise our hands because many people will know the answer. And I have to see all of you on screen. Yes, why did Arjun ask Krishna? for his chariot to be taken to the midst of the two armies? I can't see all of you, so I guess you'll have to unmute and let me know. Okay, let me give you options and you can then choose. That will make it a little easier. Because he wanted to see the leading persons present on the battlefield. That's A. B. So that he would get an estimate of the strength of the opposite party, which he had to face. C is both A and B. And D is none of the above. None of these.
Both A and
Both A and B.
Sorry?
both A and B.
Both A and B. That's right, because he wanted to see the leading persons present on the battlefield. At the same time, he wanted to get an estimate of the strength of the opposite party, which he was going to face. Yeah. Now, how could Arjun conquer both sleep and ignorance? What was the word used especially for someone who can conquer his sleep?
Gudakesh.
Gudakesh.
And what is the second meaning for the word Gudakesh?
Ignorance, conquering ignorance.
That's right. One who can conquer sleep, at the same time one who can conquer ignorance. So how could Arjun conquer both his sleep and his ignorance?
By focusing his mind on Krishna.
Yes.
Could you just repeat the question?
Absolutely.
We couldn't hear the question properly.
How could Arjun conquer both sleep and ignorance? So Ishita has given the answer because by focusing his mind on Krishna. So because of his friendship with Krishna. All right. Krishna is Rishikesh. What does that mean?
Master of the senses.
Master of the senses.
Yes, that's right. Conqueror of wealth, director of the Pandav's army, conqueror of sleep and ignorance, director of the senses and the mind of every living entity. So yes, the last. All right. Upon seeing his kinsmen, relatives and friends on the battlefield, why did Arjun feel the limbs of his body quivering and thus is overwhelmed with compassion?
Because he was a pure devotee of the Lord, his heart was soft.
Yes. Okay, let me give you, that's right. You're right, Ishita. So the four options are because of the weakness of the heart, because of his soft-heartedness, which is the characteristic of a pure devotee, because of fear of loss of life due to material concepts of life, and D is both B and C.
Both B and C.
Both
Yeah.
B and C.
Yes.
Yeah, both.
So yes, because of his soft-heartedness, but also because he feared the loss of other lives, not more so himself. Okay. Arjun calls Krishna Govinda. What does that mean?
Pleasure of voice, cows and the senses.
House.
What is the meaning of go and what is the meaning of Vinda?
Go cow.
Who is cow? Cows. Giving pleasure to the cows. And wind is pleasure. Giving pleasure to the cows.
Happiness, one who gives happiness.
Okay.
Gives pleasures to the cows and also our senses.
Both. Go stands for our
Senses.
senses and go also stands for cows.
Cow.
So he who gives pleasure to both our senses and the cows is called Govinda. Okay. How can the desires of the living entity be satisfied?
Satisfying Krishna.
Plain and simple. Yes. Yes, when the living entity tries to satisfy the senses of Govinda, automatically his own senses also get satisfied.
Satisfied.
Yeah. All right. So that was till yesterday, the last class. Now we will verse number 35. Oh, I haven't shown my screen today. Let me share screen. Can you guys see it?
No.
No.
No, we cannot.
Not yet. Okay. Sorry for the delay.
Uy, baby papa, labudok agak nalatlo.
I don't know ये क्यों नहीं हो रहा है. I can see it on my laptop. Okay, now it's there. I think you can see it now.
It's there.
Yes?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see.
So this is the verse that we did, 32 to 35. These are the verses that we did last time. Yeah. So we saw these were the symptoms that Arjun was going through. His limbs were quivering, his mouth was drying up, his whole body was trembling, the hairs of his body were standing on end, From his hand, the Gandhi bow was slipping. His skin was burning. His legs were unable to stand any longer due to impatience. And then he was forgetting himself, which means he was bewildered. He could not think straight due to weakness of the heart, and he could see only causes of misfortune. Nimittani, viparitani. Only bad omens everywhere and all causes of misfortune. And please bear in mind, सुनने में या ये सब चीजें हमें इस वक्त बहुत normal लग रही हैं, but this is happening to a person who is in Dwapar Yuga. So the caliber of men was much, much higher. They were all more than 7 feet tall. They were exceptionally brilliant. They had a 1,000-year lifespan, more than that. So, and Arjun was an indefeatable Dhanurdhar. So for such a person to feel all these symptoms is kind of unusual. So he was in a very extremely unique situation, we can say. So it is actually very surprising for a person of his caliber to be feeling, and that to a Kshatriya, a warrior, for a warrior to feel like this, where the weapon itself is slipping from his hand. This is not an ordinary thing happening. So let us see in verse 36, what happens to him further. Monica?
Should I start?
Yes, yes, please do.
पापमेवाश्रयेदस्मान् हत्वेतान् ततायिना तस्मान् नारः वयं हन्तुं धार्तराष्ट्रान् सा बान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधवा. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune, and how could we be happy by killing our own kinsman?
Okay. So, is Atatainaha. Who is an Atatainaha? An aggressor or aggressors. So he's saying that certainly one must come upon him, the Atatainaha. So let us see what is the definition of an Atatainaha. Okay, so there are 6 types of Atatainaha, 6 types of aggressors. As you can see on the screen, one is a poison giver, one who gives poison to someone, one who sets your house on fire, one who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders your riches, one who occupies another's land, and one who kidnaps another's wife. These are the 6 types of aggressions. When they happen to any living entity, you can kill these aggressors without incurring any sin. It's your birthright over these 6 possessions, and if somebody is forcibly trying to snatch it from you out of envy or jealousy, then you have every right in self-defense to kill them. Now, if you see, the Kauravas had done all 6 of them. ये 6 के 6 उन्होंने पांडवों के साथ बार बार किए थे. Poison giver, आप सबको पता है वो स्टोरी. जब भी थोड़े छोटे थे, as teenagers, Duryodhan plotted, not only plotted, he successfully लड्डू में poison मिलाकर भीम को दे दिया गया. And Bhim being Bhim, Vrikodhar, हमने देखा था previous verses में that he was Vrikodhar. He had a huge appetite and he loved food and loved sweets. He couldn't resist. So not only that, उसको ये poison देकर जिससे he lost his consciousness. पहले वो बेहोश हुआ, उसके बाद and of course, by Krishna's divine arrangement, when he sensed as Rishikesh, he knew what was going on. So immediately he those snakes to bite Bhim. तो snakes का wish और भीम की body में जो wish था, दोनों एक दूसरे को nullify कर दिया, because of which he was saved. It worked like an antidote for Bhim. And then it's a long story. We will not go into that. Mahabharata is actually a voluminous story. So he was taken to Varun in the depths of the river, and Varun then awarded him even more strength. You know, usko aur bhi zyada boons mile, that after that Bhim became even more powerful. So he came out alive because of this. So yes, so the Pandavas gave them Kauravas gave them poison. One who sets fire to the house. हम सबको लाक्षागृह की कहानी पता है कि लाक्षागृह का बनाया ही इसलिए था कि वो उनको जला पता भी न चले किसी को, you know, इसको to make it seem like an accident so that they are never blamed for it. तो ये बात अलग है that Vidur again came to the rescue of the Pandavas, और Pandavas ने खुद ही घर को आग लगा दी before the spy sent by Duryodhan could do it. और वो एक अंदर की सुरंग से One who attacks with deadly weapons. Kauravas attacked the Pandavas. यहाँ तक कि जब इनको अज्ञातवास मिला हुआ था, and they were completely bereft of their kingdom, of any money, of any army. They were just the five of us. Sorry, they were just the five of them, and plus Draupadi. Yeah, please mute. So Duryodhan again had this hideous idea one time. Most vulnerable condition right now, the Pandavas. Let's attack them with our army and finish and humiliate them. उनको मारेंगे नहीं, उनको humiliate करेंगे, because Duryodhan was always burning in jealousy, burning in envy. So his heart would never get satisfied, and he constantly got pleasure by subjecting the Pandavas to torture. So this time the demigods, the devatas in Duryodhan, that if he gets into any such mischief, they are going to curse him. So naturally Duryodhan was a very shrewd man, and he saw that this is not going to go in his favor. So he desisted from there. Another time he came on the banks of the river, Darya ke dusri taraf Pandavas ne apna camp lagaya hua tha. Duryodhan was on this side of the river, and he was trying to show his opulence, his money, just to tease them that look, I have the kingdom and I have all the opulences. And that's when Indra attacked him, the Gandharvas attacked him, and both he and Karan fought with the Gandharvas, but they lost. So the Gandharvas tied him up, and also the women, they took them hostage. And that's when he went, and so again, that's a long story. That uske jo soldiers the, they went to Yudhishthir on the other side of the river and said, please, hamare Raja ko badi women hai. So it's not nice, it is disgraceful for you also. And that's when Yudhishthir sent Bhim that go save Duryodhan from the clutches. And Bhim fought valiantly, defeated the Gandharvas, jo Duryodhan or Karan jointly nahi, just to was very humiliated and embarrassed कि वो उनको टीज करने आया था और खुद उसको की मदद लेनी पड़ी. So also Draupadi के स्वयंवर में भी they tried to attack. So Veenu, can you mute?
I'm muting all.
So
You unmute yourself, Vanita.
Okay. One who plunders riches, there is no need to explain this at all. already वो पूरा का पूरा kingdom हस्तिनापुर को grab करके Duryodhan was sitting forcibly on the throne, although he was not the rightful heir. One who occupies another land, same thing. He had usurped the entire land. यहाँ तक कि when Krishna went to negotiate with him that, look, we don't want war. We don't want, this is world war. We don't want world war. These are Kshatriyas, you just give them 5 small villages and even enough to drive up in. Okay? He gave.
Anita, your voice is breaking.
There's a hotspot here.
We are not able to understand.
All right. Okay.
आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही. हाँ.
Okay, is it okay now?
Better.
Yes, better.
All right. So they had occupied their land, and one who kidnaps another's wife. We all know how they treated Draupadi. So the Kauravas had done all 6. So they were they actually deserved to be killed, and there would be no sinful reaction on the Pandavas' side, because they had been atatais or aggressors without any provocation from the Pandavas' side. So killing them would not make the Pandavas incur any sin. So this is what Arjun is trying to say here. But Arjun is very saintly by character. So he's telling, despite going through so much of aggression, still, because he is a devotee by heart, he's so compassionate. He's telling Krishna that, notable, look what he's calling Krishna in this verse. He's saying Madhava. Sukhinah Shyam Madhava. Why is he calling him Madhav in this verse? Because Madhav is the husband of the goddess of fortune. That is the meaning of Madhav. So he's saying that, oh Krishna, you are wherever you are, the goddess of fortune is automatically there. So why are you inducing me to fight with my own brethren, with my own kinsmen, and bring misfortune upon the entire dynasty? This is the plea that Arjun is trying to give Krishna. His point is that, why should I risk eternal salvation by killing my own kinsmen? He's trying to, what Arjun is feeling is that if I kill my own people, these are my family members. So if I kill my own family members, I am going to go to the hellish planets. So my means of salvation, vis-a-vis if I lead a pious life or I follow all the tenets of Dharam, I'm going to get salvation or liberation from this world. So why should I risk this benefit by killing my own kinsmen? So he was feeling that rather than killing Duryodhan and the Kauravas for political reasons, it's better to forgive them for dharmic reasons. Now this is what Arjun is feeling, but we will see in the coming verses how, because of illusion and bewilderment, he is contradicting himself. Actually, this is not the case. He's trying to, because Arjun is a Kshatriya, and the duty of a Kshatriya is to protect dharma, the opposite side. So that very first duty, he is failing in that duty, where the love of his brethren is clouding the intelligence of his mind, where he is not able to discriminate or take the right decision. Now, we can't blame him, because imagine that, it's easy to imagine, we are in COVID right now, and we are all isolated in our homes, holed up in our homes, and supposing tomorrow there is a vaccine for COVID, and all of us are free now to meet each other. What are we going to do? Sabse pehle, we are going to have a family get-togethers, isn't it? You know, all our relatives and friends, we are going to gather them together, and we are going to have a big get-together, right? Now imagine that in one such get-together where you see all your family around you, and you are told that they have all committed a grave sin, and now in this gathering or this get-together, you have to kill them. What is going to be your psychology? What is going to be your state of mind? Because these are not strangers, or these are not acquaintances. These are people with whom you have grown up. Arjun is remembering how as a child भीष्म पितामह की गोदी में वो चढ़ जाते थे जब वो बाहर से खेल कर आते थे, मिट्टी से सने हुए होते थे कपड़े, और उन गंदे कपड़ों के साथ, पैरों के साथ भीष्म पितामह की गोदी में चढ़ जाते थे. And he would soil his clothes, and he would call him father, father, pitama, pitama, and play with his long beard. And then lovingly Bhishma Pitama would stroke his head and the hair, and he would say, I'm not your father, I'm your father's father. You know, now all these stories he's remembering. This is the Pitama jinki god mein wo khele hain, and today Pitama is standing in front of him. His own grandfather is standing in front of him, and Arjun is supposed to fight, is supposed to kill him. And this is a world war. So how does the world war conclude? Either you kill them or they kill you. There is no in between. There is no compromise. You know, okay, you take yours, I take mine. Killing, one party has to get killed for a conclusion to happen. So this love for his family is what is clouding his intelligence. Now there is a message for us here. Let us not forget that Arjun is a devotee of Krishna. And there are two energies of Krishna that are always working, Yogmaya and Mahamaya. Yogmaya works when Krishna is doing his Leela and he wants some arrangement, he directs Yogmaya to work for him. And in the material world, whereas there is absence of Krishna, Mahamaya works here. We all know Mahamaya is Maya. हम सब जानते हैं, हम कहते हैं माया के वश में हैं हम, माया की वजह से हमें ये समझ नहीं आ रहा है, वो समझ नहीं आ रहा है. But in the spiritual world also, there is a spiritual side of Mahamaya which is called Yogmaya. And Yogmaya makes all arrangements for Krishna's different desires. For example, जब कृष्ण ने मिट्टी खाई and यशोदा ने कहा मुंह खोल के दिखाओ मिट्टी खाई है कि नहीं, and then he opens his mouth and shows her the entire Brahmand. That was by, and immediately Yashoda got bewildered. What is this? This is my baby, and how can I see myself also inside his mouth? And I can see my whole house inside his mouth, my husband, all my cows inside his mouth. So immediately she realizes that he's not my son, but he is the supreme personality of Godhead. But then by Krishna's Yogmaya, she again forgets that. And then again she starts treating him like her baby, a toddler. So by Yogmaya, she's always kept in the illusion that Krishna is not God, but Krishna is her dear child. That's how Krishna can get that motherly love from her. If she's always thinking, oh, he's God, can she spank him with a stick? No. She will always feel that, oh, he's God, I can't do that. But Krishna likes relationships. He's Rasaraj. So Yogmaya works whenever Krishna's Leelas are executed. And Mahamaya works when in the material world for material people like us to keep us bewildered or in illusion. And that illusion comes from attachment. So all our problems, if you see, our intelligence is always clouded or disturbed by our attachment to our family and friends. We are not able to take the right decision, especially when we see that it is very difficult for us to be on the side of dharma or to be on the side of morality or to be on the side of the rules and regulations of the Shastra, especially where our close family is concerned. So here, according to this verse, Yog Maya, by Krishna's arrangement, is bewildering Arjun's mind. Arjun is not an ordinary person. Not only is he an exemplary Kshatriya, but he is also a pure devotee of Krishna. So there is no way that he can have these kind of doubts in his mind. But Krishna's Yog Maya is actually instigating him to get into these kind of illusions so that Bhagavad Gita can take birth. Because it's time for Bhagavad Gita to be spoken. If Arjun does not go into bewilderment, how is Krishna going to speak the Bhagavad Gita to him? So for all our benefit, Arjun is playing this role of a bewildered Kshatriya standing on the battlefield. So this is his, by asking this question, this doubt about my own men, my kinsmen, it is a pointer at all of us, our lives and our attachments to our loved ones, our family, which causes us to take wrong decisions or not to be able to take the right decision, especially when you have to decide between the right thing to do and the love of your family. So we will see how this can be tackled or how this can be handled in our situation. We will read the next verse, 37 and 38. Monica?
यद्यपयेते न पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसा कुलक्षय कृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयं समाभिः पापादस्मानि न वर्तितुं कुलक्षय कृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन. O Janardhan, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin?
Yeah. So now he is calling Krishna as Janardhan. See how he is changing the Sambodhan to Krishna in every verse. There is a feeling that he is trying to convey. So here, the word that is being used is Kulakshaya. Kulakshaya means killing the family. Okay. So Arjun feels that the Kauravas are behind the sinful after effects of the war. But he could not see the ill effects of this war, so he will not fight. Now, there are two things here that we need to, that are being highlighted, Shreyas and Preyas. Preyas means short-term result that you can immediately see. And Preyas is a long-term result. For example, it's a wonderful weather right now and your child wants to play. Or there is a great movie in town and the child wants to go and watch the movie with his friends or attend a birthday party. But in a week, he has his final exams. So what is Preyas? Preyas is right now I can see this opportunity to enjoy, so let me indulge in this enjoyment, with my friends and family. But what is Shreyas? If he is using his intelligence wisely, Shreyas is, if I don't waste this precious time that I have right now, I have very limited time, then I should actually, if I'm a student right now, I need to invest this time in studying. I can play later for the rest of my life. I have exams in the next 1 week or 10 days. And if I study now, I will be better prepared. I will not be in anxiety when the date for my exams comes closer. That's Preyas. So what Arjun is trying to see is focusing right now on Preyas, not on Shreyas. But Krishna is actually working through Preyas. through Shreyas, which means that he is looking at the larger picture, that this war is inevitable, it is the need of the hour. These perpetrators, these atatais, these envious and jealous Kauravas need to be eliminated for the greater peace of the society and the world, for the future generation, for the coming generation. If there is an envious king on the throne, a king like Duryodhan, if he is allowed to reign or become the king of the world, thinking that, okay, Arjun, the compassion in Arjun's heart is saying, even though he has done all this aggression, still let us forgive him, because I do not want to incur the sin of killing my own brother. He's looking at the short-term goal, that I'm going to go to hell. I will lose the opportunity to get salvation if I kill my own brethren. But he is completely missing Shreyas. That if Arjun is allowed, Duryodhan is allowed to rule the kingdom, will the women in that kingdom be safe? Will the elders of that kingdom will be safe? Will the future dynasties be safe? Will he promote the tenets of Dharam, or a fair and a just justice system? Will that prevail? Or will there be inequality? He's not looking at that. He's not looking at what the price will be paid by the future generations to come. But he's only focusing on prayers. That this immediate effect that I can see of this is that I am going to suffer, and I do not want to take the suffering. Also, he's due to greed, he's saying that the opposite party is ready to fight and kill each other. He's actually shocked that how come my own family is standing eagerly against our side to kill all of us. Don't they see that we are also their family, and they are so enthusiastic and ready for this battle. So, but he sees that there can be no benefit in destroying one's family. And see how his intelligence, how he's using his intelligence to that will come in verses 38 and 39. This slide has the next two verses also. So Arjun does not want to fight, owing to his focus entirely on prayers right now. 39th verse, Monica.
कुलक्षय प्रणशयन्ति कुलधर्मा सनातना धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम् adharmobhibhavata yuta. With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion.
Adharmo abhibhavati utah. So, with the destruction of the dynasty, this is Arjun's concern, and it is not an unfounded concern. It is a very jayaz baat soch rahe hain Arjun. With the destruction of the dynasty, Kula, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and then the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. Now, here, in the system of Varnashram institution, there are many principles of religious traditions to help the members of the family grow properly and attain spiritual values. Varnashram is helpful for each of us to attain spiritual values. How is that? I'll show you a slide. These are the 16 samskaras according to Manusmriti. Now, samskars means purificatory processes. Totally, ये सब तो हमें पता भी नहीं होंगे. Do you know that right from your birth till your death, there are 40 samskars that have to be performed? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah.
you.
All right. So these are the 16 संस्कारास according to मनुस्मृति. वैसे तो 40 हैं, 40 में से ये 16 major संस्कार हैं. And samskar is not some culture or ritual which we have now come to understand in our current society. Samskar ka literal translation Sanskrit meaning is purificatory process. तो ये संस्कार इसलिए बनाए गए थे ताकि बच्चा जैसे ही पैदा होता है उसकी प्योरिफिकेशन शुरू हो जाए, ताकि वो by the time he reaches the end of his life, he is able to liberate himself and go back home, back to Godhead. ये संस्कार to invite a pious soul or a soul of good consciousness into the womb. That is called Garbhadharan Sanskar. Then there is in the 3rd month of pregnancies, there's Pumsavamam Sanskar, Simantam, that's for the before childbirth, because childbirth can be sometimes fatal for the mother. Then there is Jatika, intellectual development of the child. All these samskars are purificatory processes for that jiva, that soul to this world. Then there is Namkaran, then Nishkramaman, when you take the child outside the house for the first time. Annaprasannam, many South Indians still follow some of these. When you feed the food for the first time, that food is not ordinary food, that is offered to Lord Vishnu and then given to the child, so that he can develop good consciousness. Then when the first time Mundan ceremony, cutting of the hair, then piercing the ear, Karna Vedham. Then when the child is taught to write for the first time, Vidyarambham. Upanayanam, wearing the sacred thread. Now what does the Upanayanam mean? It simply means thread jo dharan kar raha hai, which means that now he is under the control of a spiritual master. He cannot live by his own whims and fancies. He cannot live according to his own freedom. He is going to live under the regulations and the guidance of a spiritual master. That is the meaning of Upanayana. Then before and after each year of study, there is one samskar. Then when the first time a boy shaves and when the girl reaches puberty for the first time, that there is another samskar. And then when the student life finishes, there is a sanskar. Then there is Vivah samskar that all of us go through. And then lastly, there is Antyeshti or Antim sanskar. Again, that is for the passage of the soul from this body . That was the meaning of these samskars. Can you hear me?
Yeah, right now, but in between your voice was going. So we are missing few things in between.
So I will bring it back to अब ठीक है? Is this okay?
Right now, yes.
ठीक है.
Okay, fine.
Lots of disturbance.
Yeah, I don't know what to do, so I'm toggling between. Can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Your voice
fine.
is.
No, I don't know why my hotspot is not working. So I'm going back and forth between my Wi-Fi and my hotspot. So we are on verse 39. So Varnashram is a very important part of the Vedic India's society in general. And because Varnashram system helps the family members attain spiritual values, attain a better consciousness, not just values of the body. And you can see in our current society, Varnashram system has come to zero. We have no soul consciousness left in ourselves. All we are working on is our bodily consciousness. How can we eat better? How can we drink better? How can we defend ourselves, protect ourselves better? Ahar, Nidra, Bhaya, Methunam Cha. These four, we are only engaged in how we can none of them are working. I mean, there is no culture or concept in the society anymore. It's a laughing matter for people when you talk about what are we doing for our soul consciousness, you know. They think that you come from an alien world, an alien planet. But so this is what Arjun is trying to say here. That,
Sorry to interrupt, Vanita. Could you just repeat? Couldn't hear properly.
what part?
Just you were talking about Varnashram and the family.
Okay, I'm sorry about this.
The voice is going by far, and you know.
How is it now?
Fine, fine, it's okay. नीलम प्लीज आप म्यूट करो, आपके में डिस्टरबेंस आ रहा है.
तो म्यूट ही अभी मैंने just
Huh. So, with the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is going to get spoiled, and then the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. Ye concern hai Arjun ka. He's saying that वर्णाश्रम सिस्टम खत्म हो जाएगा, बिगड़ जाएगा अगर हमारी डायनेस्टी, हमारा वंश अगर खत्म हो गया, डायनेस्टी खत्म हो गई, who is going to give guidance to our the generation that is left? You know, because the elders are responsible for this kind of a process. जो बड़े होते हैं हमारी in each society, in each family, elders are responsible for giving varnashram dharam to the children, guiding them. So they are responsible for all these samskaras to be followed from birth to the death. वो guide करते हैं. I remember in one of the get-togethers, one lady had a doubt that हमें तो आजकल last rites भी करने नहीं आते. We don't know what to do first day, second day, third day, fourth day. So then I think Veenu or one of you, yeah, Veenu said this, that हर घर में कोई एक old elderly relative जरूर होता है जो आपको बताए कि ये संस्कार कैसे करने हैं. So again, we naturally rely on some elder in the family to guide us on how to do these samskars. And this was indeed the role of Varnashram. Now, what is Varnashram? Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Brahmacharya, Grihasthashram, Vanprasthashram, and Sannyasashram. All these 8 together constitute the Varnashram. और ये 4 विभाजन और 4 phases of life इसलिए बनाए गए थे so that all categories of people, क्योंकि society में सारे लोग एक ही intelligence के नहीं होते, एक ही quality के नहीं होते. However, सबको equal chance मिलना चाहिए to liberate themselves from this body and to develop their soul and go back home, back to Godhead. इसीलिए society को 4 विभाजनों में बांटा गया था, ब्राह्मण, क्षत्रिय, वैश्य, शूद्र, according to the 4 kinds of intelligence found in people. And similarly, हर human being की life को 4 भागों में बांटा गया था by Krishna only. The first 25 years will be Brahmacharya ashram. Next 25 years will be Grihasthashram. The next 25 years will be Vanaprastha, and then the last will be sannyas. So this was for the systematic elevation of the soul, despite being in this body and in this material world, and with so many attachments of family and bodily relationships. However, this system was designed so that we can all go back home, back to Godhead. But with the degradation of time, with Kali Yuga, the Varnashram system slowly started degrading. और ये हमारे जो elders हैं in the family, उनकी responsibility थी इस वर्णाश्रम system को hand down करने की और guide करने की to the youngsters in the family. So Arjun is worried कि when ये battlefield में सारे elders खड़े हैं, look at भीष्म पितामह, द्रोण, कृपाचार्य, कृतवर्मा, ये सारे हमारे elders हैं, and all of us are going to die in this battle. So जब ये हमारे बड़े जो हैं, all of them will die. How this will stop the family tradition of purification? संस्कार खत्म हो जाएंगे, संस्कार से जो purification होता है वो खत्म हो जाएगा, और जो younger members हैं उनको जब ये guidance नहीं मिलेगी, they will develop irreligious habits. So हमारी अगली नस्ल, हमारी generation पूरी अगली दिशाहीन हो जाएगी. So these elders have to be protected. They are very, very crucial. Look at our Vedic system, you know, and in the Western countries, there is no such concept. They make old age homes to put up our old people that they are now of no use. ना ये काम कर सकते हैं, ना ये पैसा कमा सकते हैं, because they do not, they are again on the bodily level, that a human being or a human body is only meant to work like a donkey, get money. So whoever is fit and can bring money home is valuable to the society. Whoever can't work should be put in an old age home. But look at our Vedic tradition. They are giving the highest pedestal to the elders because the elders are responsible for samskars, for the purificatory process. So Arjun ka is वक्त dilemma ये है that if we fight and these elders are destroyed, our family tradition will get destroyed. So how can any good come from this battle? I don't want to kill them. अगर मेरी अगली जनरेशन भी डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएगी, हमारे एल्डर्स भी डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएंगे, हमारा वर्णाश्रम सिस्टम खत्म हो जाएगा, all irreligious habits will develop. What good? Oh Janardhan, he is calling him Janardhan. What does it mean? Ardhan means well-wisher, benefactor, and Jana means लोगों का. Oh लोगों के well-wisher, you are telling me to fight, and what good can come out of this fight? And you are the well-wisher of everyone. Still, you are giving me this instruction that I should fight with them. This is the significance of that word Janardhan, why Arjun is using for Krishna. So this is his doubt right now, Arjun ka. The plea on which he is saying that he does not want to fight. Now, please remember that he is a Kshatriya. Kshatriya can never refuse an invitation for gambling or war. Gambling is also considered a kind of war. And this is like saying that army हमारी खड़ी हुई है इस वक्त China border पे, and suddenly the commander-in-chief of the army has attack of morality, and he says, I'm not going to fight. I'm sorry. My family is going to lose their father or is going to lose their son. So I'm going to put down my gun and I'm going back home, back to Godhead. You know? So this is the flip side of what Arjun is feeling. On the one side, he's giving all these examples, but at the same time, his position is that of a Kshatriya. He's not a Brahmin who is sitting there and talking about Papa and Punya. He's on the battlefield. And in the 20th verse, we saw कि उन्होंने अपना गांडीव उठा लिया, arrows उठा लिए, उसको तीर को कमान पे चढ़ा दिया. He's about to shoot his first arrow. And now what has happened to him? The gun
वनीता आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
आ रही है अब. I can hear you. ठीक है ना?
जी.
Yeah. So
हेलो हेलो
We cannot hear Vanita.
मुझे लगा मेरे फोन में कोई प्रॉब्लम है, नहीं सभी को आवाज नहीं आ रही है ना।
नहीं, आवाज नहीं आ रही है। आई थिंक उनका बंद हो गया है।
इंटरनेट
अब लाइट जा रही है ना, उसकी
No,
वजह
I
से ये
can,
प्रॉब्लम
I
है।
can hear all of you.
बट योर वॉइस एक्चुअली कोई जिंक्स है। जिस दिन गीता क्लास होती है उस दिन सबसे ज्यादा लाइट आती जाती है।
And somehow
रेगुलर
my
में कभी नहीं
hotspot,
होता ऐसे।
my hotspot is somehow not working because I don't want to rely on the light. वो आती जाती रहे. I
हाँ,
don't
वो
care,
3 बार
but
जाके
I
आ
don't
चुकी है।
know why my
3 बार लाइट
hotspot is
आके आ
not.
चुकी है।
My hotspot is कोई बात नहीं. That's okay. This is Mahamaya. So we are not going to allow Mahamaya to defeat our purpose of reading the Bhagavad Gita, and we will continue. So this is verse 39. Can you see my this thing? No, you can't see, is it?
No, we cannot see your screen.
So, okay. You can see it now. ठीक है? So,
So we can see the screen but can't hear you properly.
So you're singing.
Your voice is breaking.
You can't. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes, yes.
But you can't see the.
See, we can see the screen, but your voice is cutting.
चलो,
Yes,
अब ठीक
we
है?
can see. Yeah, it's fine.
We have done till verse 39. Verse 40.
It's like you're singing. It's a 40. Hello?
Vanita? I don't think she can hear us.
Yeah, we lost her.
Yeah. I think maybe, if she's using both on hotspot, too much, network space or something like that. That's why when the screen comes, we're not able to hear her sometimes. Or when we're able to hear her, we're not able to see the screen.
Krishna Padushanti Kul Striya Piyushu Destrasu Varne
I can hear all of you. Haribol.
प्रीति
Haribol, Haribol.
Yeah. So can you see my screen?
No.
कोई बात नहीं. I'll share it again. Verse 40 पढ़ेंगे आप, Monica?
अधर्म अभिभवात् कृष्णा प्रदुष्यन्ति कुल स्त्रिया स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वाश्रये जायते वर्ण संकरा.
So this is a very significant word here, Varna Sankara.
When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted. And from the degradation of the womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny.
Now just see the four-sightedness of Arjun. What is he saying here? He's saying that पहले तो elders मर जाएंगे सारे. Elders की वजह से irreligion, संस्कार्स will be follow होने बंद हो जाएंगे. जब संस्कार्स follow होने बंद हो जाएंगे, irreligion will start being propagated and being practiced by the future generations. Now, I forgot to tell you one point here. Why it is so important for the younger generation to follow these samskars for the elders? Because a putra का एक का meaning होता है, putra comes from the word pun, and pun एक नरक का नाम है. So putra का actually पूरा definition, can you hear me all of you?
Yes, yes, Vanita.
Yes.
पुत्र की definition है पुण्य नामक नरक त्रायते इति पुत्र. पुत्र का मतलब है जो पुण्य नाम के नामक नरक से जो अपने पूर्वजों को डिलीवर कर दे, अपने पेरेंट्स को और अपने एंसेस्टर्स को जो डिलीवर कर दे, उसका नाम है पुत्र. सो पुत्र का की बहुत बड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती थी टू डिलीवर हिज पेरेंट्स by following all the religious samskars, all the family traditions of their dynasty. This is the duty of a putra. This is a role why he has been born. So he has a duty to deliver the forefathers. Putra pindam prayojanam. Prayojanam means very necessary. It is very necessary for a putra to do pindadan. Putra pindam prayojanam. So when the family tradition gets broken and the younger members do not follow these samskars, then their forefathers will not be delivered. Sometimes forefathers are trapped in between two planets, in between two worlds. They don't get a body. Some forefathers are so sinful. We all know that to enjoy we need a body. खाने के लिए मुंह चाहिए. You cannot eat without a mouth. You cannot enjoy without a body. And some forefathers are trapped in ghostly bodies because of their sinful activities. They are denied a body. So their desire to enjoy is still there, but because of a lack of having a body, they cannot enjoy. The putra can deliver such forefathers by following pindadan sanskar. These forefathers are relieved from that yoni of a ghost and they get a human body so that they can now use that body to develop, to follow the tenets of dharam and thus go back home, back to Godhead, where there is no suffering. So it is so important for the younger generation to follow these samskars. It is their obligation because they are here in this world because of their forefathers. All of us are here today because of our lineage. We are here because of our parents, and our parents are here because of their parents. So we are indebted. We are in deep gratitude and indebted to our forefathers. इसलिए हमारा उनकी तरफ कर्तव्य बनता है. पिंडदान इसलिए करना जरूरी है. Okay? So this was about family members. Now see what he is saying about Striya. Verse 40. Strishu dushtasu. So what happens when all the male members of a family die? अगर elders भी खत्म सब destroy हो जाए war में, and all the young men also get killed, what happens to the women and children left behind? Of course, they will be exploited, isn't it? And by exploitation of women and children, what will happen by exploitation of women? Strishu dushtasu varshaneya. Varshaneya means from Vrishni dynasty. Krishna is from a Vrishni dynasty, इसलिए इसको वार्षणेय बोलते हैं. Jayate Varna Sankara. Varna Sankara, unwanted population will be born. Unwanted progeny will be born. When irreligion is prominent in the family, the women become polluted. And from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. Again, why is he calling him now a descendant of Vrishni? He is addressing Krishna here as Varshaneya. Why? Because he's saying you are coming from such an illustrious dynasty, the Vrishni dynasty. So imagine आप खुद इतनी illustrious dynasty से आ रहे हो और मेरी dynasty में destroy होते हुए कैसे देख लूं? How will you feel if your Vrishni dynasty gets destroyed? Here, this war is going to destroy the Kuru dynasty. Once the elders are destroyed, the samskars get destroyed, and then the women get polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood come unwanted progeny. Now, what is this unwanted progeny? Definitely, it does not mean that our contraception failed and the child was born. That's not what is being explained here. Unwanted progeny means children with bad consciousness will be born. When the woman is polluted, no good soul can be born from her womb. Only souls of lower consciousness will be born, and when the society gets flooded with this kind of a progeny, it is unwanted because they are only going to cause chaos in the society. That society becomes a hellish place to live in. And it's not very difficult to understand. You just have to look around you. Just look around us today. What kind of population is being born now? A population that has no regard for any kind of authority, no regard for rules and regulations. The only religion that everybody follows today is do as you please. I will do what I believe in, what I like. There is no concept of following a higher authority. Least of all of finding out what the Shastra says. So Arjun is worried. Arjun is saying, you can see this chart that I have made that shows very nicely what he's feeling. So the Varnashram system is built for peace, prosperity, and a spiritual progress in life. Elders in the family, they are responsible for the purifying processes in the family right from birth to death. Humne dekhe 16 sanskar. And when the death of the elder happens, the purificatory process will stop of the future generation. The young members will become irreligious. And what happens when they become irreligious? They lose the chance for spiritual salvation. And women and children, they need protection because they are very naive and gullible. So when they are left unprotected, the women, then a good population depends on the faithfulness and the chastity of women. So women can be very easily misled, because of her trusting nature, and women are very naive by nature. They can very easily be fooled and exploited. So by this exploitation of women, irreligion becomes prominent in the family. The women become polluted. That gives rise to Varna Sankara. And Varna Sankara, once the world becomes populated with too much Varna Sankara, hellish conditions will prevail. You cannot expect peace in a society full of Varna Sankara. And what happens? What kind of hellish condition? Risk of war and pestilence. Can you imagine how this is exactly what's happening around us today? Can you see the link? Do you know what is pestilence? What is pestilence? Anyone? And believe me, this word pestilence, sorry?
Too many pests, insects giving diseases.
Viral attack. We are in the midst of a COVID pandemic. It has a direct relation to Varna Sankara and a direct relation to fall in dharam, in the practice of a higher concept of life. And this has been written in our Shastra 5,000 years back. Pestilence will happen, war will happen. You cannot avoid it. I was seeing some time back a video in Korea. Maybe it was Korea or China. I can't make out from their face. They look all the same. On a railway, on a subway, a very, very posh subway, very well-developed country. It looked like a very well-developed, rich country. In the subway, on the platform, in full view of all the spectators, a young boy and a girl are making out on the platform. And they have no regard to the spectators around. This is an example of Varna Sankara. Zero culture, zero regard for etiquette or rules and regulations. And therefore, there must be war and pestilence. There is a direct link between religion and war and pestilence, and not following religion or the tenets of Dharam. This is not a coincidence. Hellish condition, it's already written. In this 40th verse was not coined in 2020 or 2019, just before COVID. This verse was written 5,000 years back. So, similarly, irresponsible leadership brings chaos in society by destroying Sanatan Dharam. The leadership of every country today is not following the tenets of religion, any religion. They are only following eat, drink, and make merry. So, this is the concern of Arjun, that, O Keshav, O Janardhan, this whole earth will be flooded with Varna Sankara. We are on verse 40, 42, 40, right?
Yeah, 40.
Yeah. So let me see what I have written. Yeah. So peace and prosperity can come with a good population only. There is a direct link between peace and prosperity to good population, to good. Now, what do we mean by good? Good consciousness. People, children with good consciousness have to be born for the population to be good, for peace and prosperity to be enjoyed. You cannot do whatever you like, not live by any rules and regulations, live up according to your own whims and fancies, and expect peace and prosperity to prevail, and that there will be an abundance of food and water for everyone. It's not possible. There is a direct link. And if you do not respect that link, you will have to suffer. Varnashram system was designed so that this good population continues to come for the progress of one's community. And this good population comes from the chastity of women, women who are faithful to their men. Otherwise, they will only produce irresponsible men who do not follow any rules and regulations or authority, and they will be the cause of war and pestilence. In fact, when Duryodhan was born, there were tons of bad omens, signs of bad omen. All kinds of bad omens could be seen all around. And even the most unlearned person could see that this child is a Varna Sankar. This is not a child of good consciousness. To the effect that Vidur advised that such a child should not be allowed to grow up, because he is going to be the cause of war. But Dhritarashtra was so attached and he was so envious that the younger brother's children should not come to the throne, that he did not take any good advice, to all the good counsel that was repeatedly given to him throughout his career as an acting king, which was the reason for this war taking place today. So attachment to your family to such an extent that you cannot see whether they are moral or immoral, and whether you should support them in their moral or immoral activities or no. It is okay to be attached to your family, but if as a Kshatriya you see that your family is on the path of adharam, it is your duty first to fight for dharam. Your role as a Kshatriya comes first, and then your role as a kinsman or as a brother comes second. Because you have to work for Shreyas. You have to work for the future effect of your action today. You cannot just work on prayas, short-term reward, that right now I can't kill because I will get. What about you are only taking care of your sinful reaction? What about the long-term effects of your wrong decision today? Will you not get sinful reaction for that? So, although all these points raised by Arjuna are very valid, in fact, if you compare him to Duryodhan, imagine Duryodhan के दिमाग में तो इनमें से एक भी point नहीं आया. We saw in the first verse that all he did was discuss the strength of the Kauravas, the army. He was just comparing the strengths of the army. पांडवों के पास क्या है, मेरे पास क्या है. पांडवों के पास कौन से शस्त्र हैं, मेरे पास कौन से शस्त्र हैं. मैं जीतूंगा या वो जीतेंगे. That was his only concern. He's only worried about the war and its outcome. And he's not even he's not even the one who is being dominated. He is the dominator. Yahan to Arjun is the sufferer. He has been suffering the domination of the Kurus for most of his youth. और इतना उनके हाथ torture सहने के बाद भी, look what he's thinking. He's still worried about them. They are my brothers. How can I kill them? What will happen to my dynasty? In fact, in one of the verses, he tells Krishna, us, कि तुम्हारी और मेरी हमारी reputation का सवाल है. He's even worried about Krishna, his Sarathi, कि हमारे बारे में क्या सोचेंगे? You know, what is going to happen to your and my reputation? You are from the Vrishni dynasty. I'm from the Kuru dynasty. And we are doing such a big blunder. He's worried about all these things. This is the sign of a higher consciousness, a good consciousness. A person who is thinking about dharam and adharam. जब उसकी life-threatening situation में वो खड़ा हुआ है. You know, शंख बज चुका है. शंखनाद हो चुका है. Remember? पंचजन्य और देवदत्त बज चुके हैं. वहां पे भीष्म पितामह ने अपना शंख बजा दिया है. और any side can now start shooting their weapons. Because shankh ka bajna means start. The fight is on. We have warned you. Still, he has taken the risk of going and standing in between the two armies. And now he's even deliberating to fight or not to fight. So he's at such a critical junction where any arrow can come from any direction right now and kill him. Yet, he's thinking about what is moral and immoral. This is the sign of a devotee. This is the sign of a person with good consciousness. He will always think about the repercussions or the effect of his actions. So I think we will stop here today. It's already 5:30, although we could have gone on. But let's take any question answers, if any, and we can do it in the next class. That probably will be the last class. हो गया 1.5 घंटा. ठीक है?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it's very interesting to find out what is going to happen next. It's brilliant, the dialogue between Arjun and Krishna. So, any questions as of now? Actually, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll just show you the previous slides. You can just go through them. These are the 16 samskars from the Manusmriti. Samskar का मतलब है purificatory process. Do not confuse it as rituals, क्योंकि अब हम right now हमारी current society संस्कार को ritual का synonym समझती है कि ये सब rituals हैं, इनमें कुछ नहीं रखा हुआ. But the higher understanding, the Vedic processes, samskars actually clean your consciousness step by step. They are not just some petty rituals, provided you know why they are done.
Vanita, I have one question. Varsha.
हाँ वर्षा, बोलो.
आप एक बात बताओ. I've always been wanting to know जो हम अपने ancestors के लिए पिंड करते हैं ना?
पिंडदान, yes.
पिंडदान करते हैं. So एक तो people who are like we Indians are doing it, but people living abroad.
Foreigners का क्या?
उनके पितरों का क्या होता है? Probably we were one of those only.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to ask one more thing. हम हर महीने ऐसे वो करते हैं, अमावस्या पे निकालते हैं, है ना, खाने के लिए कुछ भी सूखा, वो सब सेम है. उनके यहाँ तो कुछ नहीं होता, या जो नहीं करते हैं और हम जो करते हैं उनमें क्या फर्क है? मतलब बड़ा कंफ्यूजिंग सा है.
Why is there any confusion? There is one rule and one law for all of humanity. If you see the other religious systems, there was always a tradition of some ritual for the ancestors, be it the Muslim religion or the Christian religion. They also had these purificatory processes, but the current generation has stopped following it. All religions have it. It may vary in some degree, but Vedic Dharam was throughout the planet. ये जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, 5,000 years back, the entire world was under one rule. Hastinapur was not just Delhi. It was a world rule. There was one kingdom. Bharatvarsh means the entire planet Earth, not just India. All the 7 continents were under the rule of Bharatvarsh. All of them followed one religion, one rule, one kingdom. There was uniformity. That is why you find Vedic temples on all continents, no? हमारे जो मंदिर हैं पुराने, they have been carbon dated to 40,000 years back also. You find them in Australia, in Cambodia, in Brazil, in Peru, in South America, Mexico. You find Vedic temples all over the continents. अभी तो जाके नहीं बनाए किसी ने. So all of us, the civilization has degraded century after century, millennium after millennium, and they have all forgotten. So everybody is going to pay a price. They are paying a price. We all are paying a price. और आपके this is also not the final answer. That does not mean कि पिंडदान करना जरूरी है. Next verse में आपको इसका आंसर मिलेगा, which we will do next week. There is a easier process because now we are in Kali Yuga and it is not possible to follow. There has been a complete breakdown of Varnashram system, Varnashram Dharam. So the Yug Dharam for Kali Yuga is Harinam Sankirtan. There is no need to follow any of the purificatory processes, but the one simple process. Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Eva Kevalam, Kalau nastev 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 gatiranyatha. This is the only yug dharam and purificatory process for your ancestors that is required now. There is no need to get into all those. This will come in the future verses. Krishna will explain. Because as we degrade, whoever is running the universe has to think as the intelligence of his students lowers, he has to think of innovative and easier processes to help them. होता है ना, टीचर्स अपनी क्लास को डिवाइड कर देती हैं ना, जब देखती हैं कि कुछ स्टूडेंट्स बहुत ही वीक हैं, उनकी इंटेलिजेंस बहुत ही कम है, और जो इंटेलिजेंट बच्चे होते हैं उनको हायर कॉन्सेप्ट्स पढ़ाती हैं, जो थोड़े से स्लो होते हैं उनको फिर सिंपलर वर्जन्स देती हैं उन्हीं हाई कॉन्सेप्ट्स के, ताकि वो भी अप टू पार आ जाएं. सो हर युग का एक युग धर्म होता है. सतयुग में जो युग धर्म था वो सतयुग के कैलिबर के लोगों को ही सूट करता था. कलयुग में वो अप्लाई नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि हमारा कैलिबर ही इतना गिर चुका है. We have no intelligence. We cannot do any austerity. We have no memory. We have such shorter lives and we are unfortunate. So जो सतयुग में, त्रेता युग में, द्वापर युग में फॉलो किया जा रहा था सिस्टम, वो कलयुग में फॉलो नहीं हो सकता. That is why Krishna had to reappear in Kalyug and make it simpler for us and give us a process that even the weakest amongst us can follow. And the process given for Kalyug is Harer Naam, Harer Namayva Kevalam. So when you follow Bhakti Yug, you do not need to do any kind of Pindadan. But the condition is you have to follow Bhakti Yog. I hope that clarifies, Varsha and Preeti.
Yes.
Yeah. So Karma Kand is not recommended for Kalyug anymore because purity ही नहीं रह गई चीजों की, द्रव्यों की, मंत्रों के उच्चारण की. We do not have the quality of these ingredients anymore. Nor do we have Brahmins. ब्राह्मणों को मंत्र ही नहीं आते ठीक से बोलने. तो ऐसे में आप क्या कर्म कांड करेंगे, क्या रिचुअल करेंगे? It is not recommended for this age. In fact, गलत मंत्र उच्चारण से और ill effects हो सकते हैं. That is why it is not recommended for this age. But the point being, there is a method for every age. You have to follow some method. You cannot live by the principle of to each his own. I'll do what I please. You do what you please. So if all of us live with this religion, I will do what I like. Can there be peace? You don't have to answer. You just look around you. Look at the society today. There cannot be any peace and cooperation if everybody lives according to their own rules and regulations. One standard rule and regulation has to be followed by everyone to have peace. And no war and no pestilence. And that rule is not yours nor mine. It is the Supreme Lord's. A standard rule. Following an authority is very important. Okay? So with that, we will close. Let us chant these beautiful prayers, everyone. Ekam Shastram.
Ekam Shastram.
I think आप सब mute करिए और अपने इसमें बोलिए, but listen to the pronunciation nicely and chant. Ekam Shastram. Devaki Putra Geetam. Eko Devo. Devaki Putra Eva. Eko Mantras. Tasya Namani Yani. Karmapi Ekam. Tasya Devasya Seva. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva. Tvameva Bandhu cha Sakha Tvameva. Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva. Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Krishnaya Vasudevaya. Haraye Paramatmane. Pranata Kalesha Nashaya. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Krishnaya Vasudevaya. Devaki Nandanaya Cha. नंद गोप कुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानंदं कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुं। कात्यायनी महामाये महायोगिनी अधीश्वरी नंद गोप सुतं देवी पतिं मे कुरुते नमः। श्री कृष्ण शरणं मम दासोहं कृष्ण तवास्मि। Chant everyone together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, I'm sorry for all the glitches today. I will try and correct that in the next one. I'll have to do something about my hotspot. Maybe I'll check on that. आप recording off कर सकते हैं वीनू? Preeti, was it okay for you? आप muted हैं.
You made it quite simple.
Yeah, it is going to be even more simple as we progress with the PPTs. The concept gets practical understanding. This class actually is on how to practically apply it. We are not sitting here just to hear a nice story. Of course, it's nice to hear these stories also. But then what is the practical takeaway? That we have to, with every class, with every verse, there has to be a practical takeaway. So